I have a couple of quotes that kind of make you realize how truly real this is for not only the adults, but also for the children that are living through this. This town has a little bit over 2,000 people that live here in 1863. However, when the Battle of Gettysburg is raging on and beginning, there's going to be close to 160,000 soldiers completely crammed into not only the town itself, which at the end of July 1st, the end of today, it's going to be in Confederate hands, but it also is going to be crammed with the people down in their basements trying to take shelter. They are absolutely terrified. Albert McCreary describes this as he is going to be on the corner of Baltimore Street, which is Baltimore Pike, right behind you guys, goes down and goes into town. That's going to be turning into Baltimore Street. He actually describes that his family is hiding in the basement, and as they're hiding in the basement of their home, he takes a look out the window and he sees a Confederate cannon being rolled up and being loaded and fired. If you're starving and you've got food in front of you, you're probably going to eat. And so Henry Jacobs once again describes how he's hungry, and he wants to describe and talk about how they even eat for the next 3 days or even the next 3 months. Because this is, again, before our modern era of refrigerators and things to keep our food safe and healthy instead of having it spoil. Jacobs describes that it had become a problem as to where we were to be fed and how we were to be fed. For bread had depended on the baker, but his establishment had been cleaned out. There was some flour on hand, but no yeast or baking powder. The ladies managed to make some biscuits and to make a batter of flour and water as a substitute for bread, which, with the raspberries, which I had picked when there was no fighting or firing formally, that became a good part of our substance. Do you think you'd be able to live on biscuits and raspberries for the next 3 months? One of the most famous stories is going to be of Elizabeth Thorne and her home with the Evergreen Cemetery. Now, if you think about the National Cemetery, of course it's not here during the Battle of Gettysburg, but it is going to be placed right next to the civilian cemetery, which is known as the Evergreen Cemetery. That needs to be taken care of by someone, and so Elizabeth Thorne and her children are going to be taking care of the house and of the property while her husband is fighting off in the Union Army. But a little known fact about Elizabeth Thorne, she's 6 months pregnant at the Battle of Gettysburg. And so now her home is directly in the center of not only the retreating Union line, but also the firefight that breaks out to try and take this spot here. As I mentioned, she is going to be 6 months pregnant during the Battle of Gettysburg, and it's very warm. It's a very hot summer, kind of how it's been today, very high humidity in the high 80s. And again, she's going to be 6 months pregnant, so I do not envy her in any way. So she is going to be a very strong, tough individual. When the Union commanding officers are going to be arriving on the field here in the early afternoon of July 1st, when Oliver Otis Howard, whose monument we just came from, chooses this location, he's also going to choose as his headquarters Elizabeth Thorne's home, which is the one you see behind us here. They're also going to ask if anyone can help do a reconnaissance, help possibly find some of the roads to lead into and out of Gettysburg. Because Elizabeth Thorne is going to be with her family, her sons are too young, and her father is too old. So she volunteers herself to go out and do this reconnaissance. When they say no, she demands a second chance and asks once again if she can give the directions. So when they finally say okay, she's going to lead them up and down the Baltimore Pike and along the Cemetery Ridge line. And because of this, she's going to be hearing and seeing bullets whiz past. And she shows no fear. She's a tough cookie because not only is she also having bullets fly by, but when she is returning back home, this is also going to be chosen as Oliver Otis Howard's headquarters.